Hello everybody, welcome to Critical Chat, where I chat about the most critical of gaming news. I'm your host, Dylan Cash, and today we're going to be talking about Tony Hawk's big return to the gaming scene, PS5 gameplay with the Unreal Engine 5, as well as Ghost of Tsushima, and Paper Mario, the Origami King. So without further ado, let's talk about video games. So Summer Game Fest is in full force right now, and we got our first glimpse of a brand new Tony Hawk game earlier this week. I'm talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. They're marketing this game as a remaster, but make no mistake, don't let that fool you. This is a full-on remake, and I am extremely excited about it. Out of all of the gaming news that we've got throughout this week, this title probably has me most jazzed. In fact, I would even say that it has become one of my most anticipated games this year. And let me tell you why. So the way they revealed this game I thought was really well done. Having Jeff Keighley host this big live stream showing off the trailer and then having an interview with Tony Hawk himself and one of the lead directors of the game as well. I love how Tony Hawk actually accidentally revealed the game like 2 minutes before the trailer premiered on Twitter. Really funny, kind of cute actually. The trailer itself I thought was awesome. I thought the way it was structured was awesome. I have seen Warehouse remade like 3 times at least. It has never looked better than now. I love how in this game we're not going back to 90s Warehouse, just as we're not going back to 90s Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk has aged as well as Warehouse. It looks cold, dark, and dusty, and I think that's a really cool aesthetic for that level specifically, but I hope they kind of handle other levels like that as well. These places have aged as well as these skaters. There are plenty of skaters returning: Rodney Mullen, Chad Muska, of course Tony Hawk. A lot of the original music is returning as well. Goldfinger, Rage Against the Machine, Power Man 5000, I believe. Really cool stuff there, but we've sort of been promised this before. There was another Tony Hawk game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, developed by Robomoto, that came out a few years ago that basically had the same trailer as this. The only difference is it certainly didn't look as good. Now, I am a huge fan of the Tony Hawk franchise. I grew up playing the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, grew up playing Underground 1 and 2, American Wasteland, Project 8, which I still own today. Absolutely love Project 8. To me, that was sort of the peak of the franchise. After that, it sort of took a nosedive. There was Proving Grounds, which was the last game by Neversoft, which just basically built on Project 8, and then Robomoto got their hands on the franchise, and things kind of started falling apart. There was Tony Hawk Ride and then Tony Hawk Shred, which were both like peripheral-based games. You had like an actual piece of plastic balance board skateboard thing. I thought it was kind of weird and wasn't handled very well and was sort of dead on arrival. And then there was Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, which again, like, had all that classic stuff there, but it looked kind of poor, played really poor. There was some light there. I didn't hate that game. Then there was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, which was just an utter disaster. Can we just call that one non-canon? Because it was just awful. The gameplay, it was broken. The online was broken, the level design was broken, glitches everywhere. Graphically, it looked like a game that came out on PS2. It killed the franchise, and it's been dormant ever since. Until now. Vicarious Visions is creating this new Tony Hawk game, and I'm a big fan of Vicarious Visions, actually. They worked on the Crash Insane trilogy as well as Crash Team Racing Nitro, which both did really well critically and financially. I'm a big fan of Crash Insane trilogy. I loved playing that game. I thought it was really well made, and Vicarious Visions is sort of having a glow up. I definitely think it's sort of Activision's trick up their sleeve, and they brought back Crash from the dead, and I think it's time they bring back Tony Hawk from the dead. The Tony Hawk game series, of course. Tony Hawk is not dead. Now again, the trailer looks fantastic, bringing back all these classic skaters, all these awesome levels, all the music. That stuff's all fine and dandy, but it's the gameplay that's really getting me excited. It looks like a Neversoft developed Tony Hawk game. And I believe Vicarious Visions is working with some old Neversoft framework or something that I guess Activision just had dusty on a shelf laying around somewhere. They're working with that, and they're really just making it work, period. It looks like classic Tony Hawk, and you know, that series meaning so much to me, this was just such a feel-good announcement. It really was, and it comes out in September. It comes out very soon. The pre-order bonus is really cool. You get a demo. You get that classic Warehouse demo. I played that Pizza Hut demo back in the day. It's so cool, and it feels so right. It was a perfect way to sort of kick off Summer Game Fest, perfect way to sort of just kick off the summer period. It's capping off the summer in September. I'm just so happy, and I'm just waiting for bad news about this game. I really am. I'm just like waiting for bad news, but there's nothing there yet. I mean, everything again just looks so perfect that I don't know. I'm just gonna be happy with it. I'm just gonna be in this world of Tony Hawk ignorance and just say that this is going to be a perfect game. Now, the original Pro Skater series reviewed extremely well. I believe Pro Skater 3 is one of the highest reviewed games on Metacritic right now, and I think that this game has a chance of reaching that height again. I really do. If they're really going to deliver on the promises that are being made, I have full faith. I just want to throw my full faith into this game. I'm so proud of Vicarious Visions. I'm so proud of Activision for making this move. Again, it's a cash grab, for sure. It's a nostalgic-filled cash grab, but it's a smart and calculated one. They didn't just grab Robomoto back, hey, try again. No, they put promise in this studio, Vicarious Visions. Vicarious Visions has proven themselves multiple times, and I'm just excited. I really am. Now, there's been some other crazy exciting news this week as well. We got our first look at PS5 gameplay, quotation marks. This is a tech demo, for sure. This is not an actual game. Unreal Engine 5 is a real thing. Full disclosure, I'm not much of a tech guy. I don't know too much about game development or anything like that, so it's hard for me to really pinpoint why this is such exciting news, aside from just visually how it looks. But it looks visually amazing. It looks visually unreal. No pun intended. I think the part that really blew me away, and I'm not sure if this is the first time I've felt this before, but essentially it never felt like I was entering or exiting an environment. We go through these caves, we go out of the caves, we jump around, and it never feels like we're in different levels. It all feels connected, it all feels a part of this world. And we sort of zoom through this world. At the end of the demo, we're jumping around, we're flying, and it's moving super, super fast. And this is sort of falling in line with what Mark Cerny has been talking about and what we've heard about the PS5, how they can crank up that Spider-Man game, Spider-Man PS4, crank that game up on PS5 and zoom across New York with no compromise. Textures and pop-ins aren't happening. They're not like following you, trying to catch up with you. It's all happening seamlessly. And that's a big deal in terms of game design. That really changes the perspective in what you can do in open world games, what you can do in games where you're flying around, moving really fast. It's just really, really exciting. Global lighting was a big feature as well, how there's no baked-in lights. Lights aren't animated into the scene. They are dynamic, and they affect things dynamically. Shadows look fantastic. The textures look fantastic. There's a part of the demo where we see this character sort of squeezing herself into like a cave or whatever, and everyone was sort of losing their mind, like, what? I thought we weren't gonna have this sort of fake loading time entering another level. That's not what that was for, guys. That was to showcase those textures close up. It was to showcase that model close up. That wasn't for the purpose of a loading time. They're not gonna put a loading time in a tech demo. Are you insane? It looked fantastic. It looked really, really great. We know that Final Fantasy VII Remake uses Unreal Engine 4. And during the interview, after the big trailer, the big tech demo showcase, they had this big interview, and they were mentioning sort of the ease of use, how you can transfer from 4 to 5 without too much hassle. And I think we're going to see a lot of games that use Unreal Engine 4 obviously jump to 5. So I'm assuming Remake Part 2 is going to be using 5, or maybe Remake Part 3. I'm not sure. This does come out like late 2021, so it'll be a while before we see this stuff fully fleshed out. The engine itself is going to look better by that time as well. They're still actively working on it. I'm curious from a game developer's perspective what this means, And another thing too, a lot of people are excited about this, but they're like, oh, it's just Unreal though, like it's gonna take forever for game developers to make games on this engine. It doesn't come out till late next year. So, that's the thing. Like, you have to look at it from sort of a different perspective. Like, it's not just Unreal Engine. Like, yes, they're showing this tech off. It looks fantastic, but there's also other studios. There's PlayStation studios now that are making advances in this. There's studios at Xbox that are making advances at this. This is sort of showing the progression of all game studios. Now, I'm sure Epic and the Unreal Engine itself does things better. Makes things a little more easy to use and things like that. But like even the Decima engine, I'm sure, is advancing and getting better and better and making things look better and better. We will see other games that don't use Unreal Engine 5 look as good as this. This was just sort of the baseline. Unreal Engine is sort of always the baseline and very indicative of what games are going to look like for that generation. I just think that sadly it's going to take a little time to get games looking that good. not in terms of development time, just in terms of release time, or of course in development time as well, but I just don't think we're going to see those games announced anytime soon. That's going to be a little bit further down the life of the PS5, I'm guessing, because even on PS4, like, PS4 looked okay to begin with. It wasn't that big of a leap between PS3 and 4. We saw Knack 2, like, okay, that's fine, I guess. Like, it didn't look great. It wasn't this huge graphical showcase, but now you look at The Last of Us Part 2, and it's just mind-blowing how good that game looks. It's incredible what they can do with this older hardware. And of course, we have Ghost of Tsushima as well, which I think looks fully next-gen. That is, to me, what a next-gen game looks like. It looks ridiculous, and I'm extremely excited to see more games, more studios take advantage of just advancing tech. I think that's sort of what the purpose of this showcase was, hey, like, the PS5 is capable of this right now. The PS5 is still in development. I believe they were using an early build of the PS5 showcasing this demo. So who's to say what games are going to look like next year or even this year when PlayStation inevitably reveals their sort of launch lineup, what their big titles are, what Bluepoint's next big title is. It's exciting news all around, in my opinion, and I thought that Epic did a really good job of sort of demonstrating that, not just in the demo itself, but even in the interview as well. They even showed some faces too, which looked insane. There was a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of tech talk, obviously, that sort of goes over my head, but it's something that I can definitely appreciate and sort of understand the gravity of, and I think it is a big deal, and I think we're going to see that sort of unfold throughout the months and years to come. Now, I mentioned Ghost of Tsushima. That game looks ridiculously good. We had a huge sort of a demo of that game, a sort of walkthrough. It was like 18 minutes, really fantastic stuff. But before that, I woke up at like noon that day when they were going to reveal, Ghost of Tsushima stuff. I woke up to my Twitter feed just full of Paper Mario news. What? What's going on? Paper Mario Origami King was announced just randomly. No direct, no like, hey, there's going to be something big tomorrow, look out, at 8 a.m. there's something launching. Nothing like that. Just a trailer, out of nowhere. Brand new Paper Mario game. It's been sort of rumored for a while. It's happening. There's a brand new Paper Mario game. This is more just feel-good news. I would say that this was a feel-good week in gaming news. I think that's sort of the best way I could describe it. I'm not a huge fan of the Paper Mario franchise, not in terms of like, oh, I don't think those games are good, just in terms of I've never been able to like get my hands on it and really play it. But this trailer looked awesome. I know a lot of people are scratching at their heads in terms of the battle system, in terms of the characters looking generic. I am aware of Thousand Year Door. I'm aware of like those titles and what they did for that sort of universe of characters. There's all these original characters. There's Gino. I know Gino. I know that stuff, and I know like this sort of looks not as imaginative, I should say. And yeah, that's a little disappointing. I definitely get that. Like, Color Splash was a huge kick in the face to a lot of those Thousand Year Door fans, and this looks to be doing sort of similar things. But there's a lot of other cool stuff about this game that sort of sets itself apart from that. I actually really dig the way the battle system looks. There's this sort of turn-based RPG mechanic where we're literally turning this wheel to attack enemies. I think that's really cute and really fun, and I think could get really complicated too. I think in the trailer we see like multiple enemies on different playing fields. Like, that sounds really interesting, and I think they could do a lot with it. I'm curious how bosses interact with that turntable as well. We also see some really interesting visuals as well. It's all about origami now. We see Peach in this origami form. She's like possessed or evil now. She sends Mario down to this trap door. There's some ridiculously huge open environments that we're like traveling around on this boat, and it straight up looks like some Zelda game. I'm really impressed visually. I mean, Color Splash looked fantastic, but this is just building on that even more. Not in terms of just like graphics, but in terms of scope, I should say. This game looks big and massive, and it's crazy because it's coming out July 16th. It is coming out in less than 2 months, and that to me is absolutely insane. I can't believe this game is coming out so soon, and Nintendo just decide, hey, let's just drop this game here, I guess. There's a random trailer, no direct, nothing like that. The game's coming out soon, look forward to it. The box art is fantastic, of course, Nintendo continuing that trend of making fantastic looking box arts. I'm impressed, I should say. I really like this trailer. Again, I have friends that are fans of Thousand Year Door that definitely sort of discouraged me in like being excited about the game, but I'm trying my best to sort of push that stuff aside and just look at the game for what it is, and for what it is, it's looking kind of fantastic. I definitely am excited to see how this game does critically, and also sales as well, because Paper Mario has never been like a huge seller, and the Switch has. Animal Crossing has. Like every single Switch title that releases, at least first party wise, has done extremely well. I think like 8 first party titles have done over 10 million copies, which is mind-boggling. So I'm expecting this to be a huge game for the Switch. I think it's launching at a good time in July, launching the same day as Ghost of Tsushima, which I think is really funny as well. We sort of have a similar thing happening a la, Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal. Just cool news all around. Again, it feels really good. I'm curious if we're going to see more of this game before it launches. Are we going to get another trailer? Are we going to get a sort of gameplay preview where we, see what this game is really about, see how this battle system works? I'm curious. The word on the street is that we're not getting a Direct in June, and this sort of confirmed that to me. Like, this seems like it would be a part of a Direct or would lead into a Direct. Doesn't really feel like that. Doesn't really feel like we're getting that Direct in June at all. I think we'll get another random game announcement probably. I guess that's a thing that we have to look out for now, which is kind of scary in terms of covering, gaming. But it is interesting. I'm curious like how the rest of the year is going to pan out, because I was thinking, this Paper Mario game that was rumored, I was thinking that this was going to be Nintendo's big fall game. I was thinking that this was going to launch in like November. No, this is a summer game. So I'm definitely a little curious what else they have planned for the year. What is their big fall title? How are they going to compete with PS5 and Xbox Series X? Not that they need to, but what is like the next big title in terms of first party? Are we going to get Breath of the Wild 2 possibly this year? Is there games that we don't even know about? Nintendo has confirmed that they have games that we have not seen yet. Of course, like every studio does, but I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like Nintendo's slate is definitely one to keep an eye on. Now, Paper Mario did sort of throw a wrench into the hype train that was the Ghost of Tsushima gameplay reveal, but that gameplay reveal was still very exciting. It was still trending. It still resonated with a lot of gamers out there, including myself. Now, I'll admit, I didn't quite like this demo at first. You can watch my reaction. I'll put that in the description as well if you're interested. It wasn't really jiving with me, but after subsequent views, after watching other people's reactions and hearing other people's thoughts, it's been growing on me. Quite a bit, actually. Now, I love this world. I love the way we're moving around. I love how wind pushes us to our destination. I love how you set a marker on the map and there's no mini-map. You're not like following a trail or anything like that. The wind literally shows you which direction to go, which I think is just absolutely genius. Animals will lead you to like treasure and loot and things like that. I believe foxes lead you to like shrines or something. There's also these sort of arches that lead you into like mountain shrines and stuff as well, they mentioned. Audio cues and visual cues I think are extremely important in terms of open world games, and I think that this game, I think that Sucker Punch is truly taking advantage of that in similar ways that Breath of the Wild did, and I'm getting those vibes here. Now, speaking of vibes, the blades of grass, the petals coming down, the trees blowing in the wind, the mountains in the distance, the music in this gameplay demo was just ridiculously good. Now, I'm a huge fan of Japanese history. I'm a huge fan of feudal Japan. I love samurai. I've always been a fan of samurai. And seeing that showcased here so faithfully and so historically accurate is, to me, something that I've never seen in a video game before. At least not to this degree. At least not to this fidelity in terms of visuals. Like, it is absolutely beautiful. Again, I feel like it looks next gen. I truly do. I remember when this game was first shown off like a couple of years ago, I was thinking that it was a PS5 game. I was blown away, and I still am today. I think that this game just looks unreal. It really does. And there's some obvious like issues in terms of the compression in the gameplay demo. There was a lot of compression, and I feel like every time this game is shown off, there's just a huge amount of compression during the stream or trailer. But there is a 4K trailer that exists of the same demo. It's ridiculously good. It is so good. The one concern I have with this demo itself is the combat. Now, the stealth combat looked fantastic. I love that stuff. Straight up feels like I'm playing as Batman, like Batman Ninja, just like throwing down these firecrackers, jumping down, doing like these double assassinations. That stuff is just like food to me. I love it. But the samurai combat, the brute force combat, going in with a katana, I don't know. I don't know how I was feeling about it. It definitely felt very, very reactionary. And reactionary combat, I don't typically dig, where I'm just like, okay, waiting for this attack so I can parry it. Waiting for this guy's attack so I can parry it. That's not something that's super engaging to me, but there were a couple instances in the gameplay demo that I saw where it definitely felt a little more action-based, where like, oh, I'm moving forward. I'm not just waiting and baiting enemies. Like, I'm actually making advancements in the combat. And I think that's why I like the stealth stuff, because like, I'm moving first. I'm killing these guys before they even get a chance to. And that's really, really cool. There's a point where you're like throwing multiple kunai at the same time. It's a quick shot, but man, it's so cool. Killing like 3 guys at the same time. Using a smoke bomb, like that was super cool. Boarding the ship, like using this grappling hook. Just awesome stuff. The black and white mode is completely unnecessary, but absolutely awesome. The Japanese voice acting, I don't know if I dug that. I've heard the English dub, and I thought it sounded fine. Like, I was like, okay, that's good. It's very serviceable. Very well done, I think. But the Japanese voice acting wasn't really digging. There was like a voice that came out of a bearded dude that sounded like a young child, and I was like, I don't know if I dig that. Like, that doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just that one character. Maybe it's just like, I don't know, like the game's not fully made yet. Obviously, it still has a month or 2 left. I'm not quite sure, but I just wasn't really digging that scene they showed there. Definitely getting some Zoro vibes for sure. But that specifically was like, kind of threw me off a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing in Japanese or English yet, but I definitely want that authenticity. I want that authentic feel. I want to play the game in black and white for a little while for sure. Definitely like the Kurosawa mode, the Akira Kurosawa mode. That's really, really cool. Again, super feel good. It was just comfort food. It was video game comfort food. And that has been this entire week. Just relaxing, great news. And it's so weird to me. It really is, because, next gen has been sort of on everyone's, on everyone's mind right now. And there's been this worry, like, oh my God, are there going to be games? What is Sony going to do? They haven't shown the console yet. What is Xbox going to do? Oh man, they just showed off all these weird games. There was no gameplay in this gameplay huge inside Xbox. Like, what's going on? Things have been stressful in terms of like next gen, but in terms of this gen, in terms of the Origami King and Sekiro, and of course The Last of Us, like, we're good, dude. Like, I'm not even worrying about next gen right now. I'm still just enjoying the games that are coming out right now, that are coming out within a couple of months. Of course, I'm excited for next gen, but I think that playing the games now is what's most important. And I think that's sort of what's most important to Sony right now as well. I think they're sort of waiting to launch these games before they show off what they're going to be doing next. Especially in terms of showing off new hardware and showing off possibly better looking games than the games that are coming out this summer, because I think that sort of gives everyone the vibe of like, oh, I guess I don't need to buy this game. I can just wait till PS5 and play Blue Point's new game. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that's Sony's mentality there, but it's definitely something to sort of look into. I think it's definitely a strategy there. And Nintendo just launching random trailers and games coming out within months. But keep doing that. I like it. I really do. I think that's a cool surprise. I obviously would rather have a direct. I would rather have this big, info show where we get some indies and some big games, where those indies do get a chance to shine because they can be among the heroes. But if you can't have a direct due to obvious reasons, this is a fine sort of substitute for that. So all in all, Summer Game Fest has delivered. It has been a great week, and next week, who knows what's going to happen. The week after that, this is all summer, guys. We don't know what's going to happen throughout the summer, but it's been good so far. This has been a fantastic week in terms of gaming news. Definitely picked a good time to start doing this show again. And yeah, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. If I missed any stories, if there's anything specific that I didn't get a chance to talk about, comment down below. I'll try to bring my thoughts on it there and maybe bring it up in next week's episode if there's not like a bunch of huge plethora of stories to talk about. But definitely want to try to talk about all the most interesting things. And if there's something I missed, let me know for sure. If you have a question that you'd like to see answered in next week's show, comment that down below as well, and I will be sure to answer it. Thank you very, very much for watching. Again, this is a new show. This is a different sort of thing than all the rest of my content on YouTube, and I just want to thank you guys for giving it a chance and getting through this entire edition of Critical Chat. I know this has been kind of a longer one. I appreciate it. It is really fun to do this. Definitely get to like try out new things in terms of editing, try out new things in terms of like structure and stuff like that. And it's really, really fun. And I want to thank you guys for watching for sure. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, check me out. In the description below, you'll find links to all of my social stuff, as well as Twitch. You can follow me there. Currently playing through The Last of Us for the first time, which has been phenomenal. I love that game so far, and I'm going to be playing more at the time of recording this, like tomorrow, I guess. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys later. I'm out. So this edition of Bonus Level, I want to call some people out. This has been sort of the icky part of this week in gaming news. Every single stream that I've watched in terms of like, oh, the Ghost of Tsushima stream, the gameplay reveal, all of the Summer Game Fest stuff, even Keely's personal stream, the comments and the tweets about these streams, the tweets about this stuff, I have seen, please reveal Batman, please reveal Elden Ring. Where's Elden Ring? Where's Batman? Where's PS5? I have seen that stuff so much that it hurts me. Please stop. What do you think's gonna happen? Like, Keely's having a personal stream where he's just answering fan questions, and you're commenting that. Okay, all right, let me just pull the new Batman Arkham game out of my pocket. Like, what do you think's gonna happen there? Like, stop. You're not helping anyone. Just stop. I know that you're excited for these games. I know that they're huge games that we've been waiting for so long. The Harry Potter game too, oddly, just everyone's excited for that game. We don't even know if that's a real game. That could have been canceled. We don't even know who's working on that game. Just stop. I get the excitement. I get that urge, you know, I get that. I definitely want to see these games too, but bugging people about it isn't fun. When someone's trying to show off Ghost of Tsushima, when Sony is trying to push this game, and you're asking for, hey, where's Elden Ring? Sony doesn't know. That's not their game. Keely doesn't know. Who knows about these games? Like, you need to be talking to these studios specifically, and even then, it's just, I don't know, there's just this strong toxicity surrounding that topic, in my opinion, and I think it's probably an issue that I could tackle in its own video, but please, for the sake of Jeff Keely, for the sake of these people that are caring about projects, that are showing off projects, don't do that. Just don't. Please don't.